Welcome to my July and early August favorites, I guess. I'm sitting down to film this almost 2 weeks into August. I hope that you'll notice that I have just decided that I'm over summer and I'm not waiting any longer to wear my darker makeup, like my burgundy nail polishes and sort of darker plum lip colors. I just am an incredibly irritable person in the heat. It's not my thing. I'm over it. I'm done. I'm wearing my fall makeup already, even though it's freaking hot. So here we go. I am happy to report that my skin has been doing a lot better since the last skincare routine video that I showed you. The things that I pulled to show today is actually pretty restrained. There was a lot more that I kind of wanted to talk about because what has happened is over the summer, I kind of started everything from scratch. I got rid of a bunch of stuff, or I just moved stuff away that I didn't want to use. And I really wanted to focus on having a super minimal, gentle but nourishing skincare routine. My skin has been very sensitive. I've had episodic dryness. There's so much more I wanted to talk about that I was like, I just need to do another skincare routine video where I talk about all the new products I have. I will be doing that sometime this month or early in September. But I pulled a few things to talk about today. The first is the new creamy cleanser I've been using and really liking. This is the Pie Camellia and Rose Gentle Hydrating Cleanser. Super happy with this. A lot of people gave it raves. I think I talked about Pie in my wishlist video that I did a couple months ago. I'm also trying another creamy cleanser that I am totally not into, and I'm going to be doing a disappointing products video soon because I think I have enough to do one of those. It's been a while. Approximately 75% of the people who gave this product a rave, I am right there with you. First of all, it doesn't really smell very much like rose. To me, it smells sort of almost lemony. And I love using this as a second cleanse. I pretty much alternate my second cleanse between this and the Osmia Black Clay Facial Soap. If my skin is feeling a little bit drier, I will tend to opt for this over the Osmia soap. And then my first cleanse has just been oils or balms as per usual, but I'll talk about that a lot more extensively in the skincare video that I'm gonna do. But I'm loving this. It's a total pleasure to use. My skin is super calm and plump and hydrated after I use it. I've been using it, I guess, probably 3-ish weeks, maybe even a month at this point. So it's safe to say I really like it. I do kind of like a pump and a half or almost 2 generous pumps, and I just really like to mimic the way an esthetician would wash your face during a facial. Love the pump dispenser. It's super easy to use. Rave. Okay, the next thing is something that I've been getting lots of questions on, and it is Stark Everlasting. I was generously sent this bottle as well as 2 additional bottles, which I should have brought up to my filming space, and I didn't because I wanted to do a giveaway with them, which we're going to be doing. I don't want to spend the time here to sort of detail everything about this product. I'll cover it a little bit more in this updated Stark brand review I'm going to do, but Jess LaFleur, the founder of Stark, has also done a whole video dedicated to this product. I'll link for you down below. It is essentially a non-oil based serum, but you can also use it as just a hydrating skin calming booster to literally any other skin product. My favorite way to use it is either in place of a hyaluronic product, which I tend to use in the morning, something like the Provise Nutrify Tonic. That's another video I have to do. I have been testing the reformulated Provise 1-6 in comparison to the old formulation, and so I'm going to be doing a quick video on that. I like to use this in place of something like that, in place of sort of a hydrating type of layer, and then I'll just do a cream or a couple drops of oil on top. Or I think my absolute favorite way to use it is something that I learned from Jess's video, is mixing about 4 drops of Everlasting in with a pea-sized amount of Stark Aurora to create essentially a milky sort of balm that you leave on the skin as a moisturizer in the evening. I do it probably every 2 to 3 nights. So again, I'll detail more in my current skincare routine video. What's really sort of been helping my skin a lot this summer is every 2 or 3 nights I'll do this combination of Everlasting with Aurora, and my skin feels the plumpest it's probably ever felt when I wake up in the morning. It's really nice. I think particularly if you're dry and dehydrated, you would love this combination. So to that end, I have 2 bottles of Everlasting to give away. The next skincare thing actually involves a bit of a redaction. Last month, or I think it was my June favorites, I talked about how the Radice Apothecary Rose of Castile Eye Contour Cream was a favorite. So I do still like this quite a bit, but shortly after I filmed that video, and I had been using this product for a couple of months, I kind of stopped using it, and not because anything went wrong or I had a reaction. I was thinking about eye creams in the time since I did that video. You know, they're so freaking expensive. I think this retails for $90. Do I think really any eye products that I've tried are worth the money? I'm sure I could do like an eye cream serum lineup type of video and get into way more detail, but in short, there are very few specifically formulated for eye products that I think I would recommend for the money. And actually the ones I recommend are all relatively affordable. Arcona Eye Dew, Kahina Prickly Pear Seed Roller Ball. I'm currently using the Pi Echium and Argan Gentle Eye Cream, but it was a gift with purchase when I had purchased some Pi products on Beauty Habit, and I'm enjoying that. It's doing just as well as this. And the other thing I wanted to point out is that I've really been enjoying using the Iuna cream from the August Beauty Heroes box as a dedicated eye cream. So even if I'm not using this as a cream on my face, using it as an eye cream is literally perfect. If you have this, there is no reason to invest in a separate eye cream, in my opinion. Just in the spirit of minimizing and simplifying my skincare routine, I would rather just have kind of an all-over face cream that I can use as an eye cream and feel good about using as an eye cream, rather than having a separate eye cream. So I just wanted to let you know that I don't really think you should go out and spend $90 for this. It's nice. It was sent to me as PR, and I have enjoyed using it. I might return to it, but I don't think I would personally spend $90 of my money on this. Okay, the last skincare thing are these Wamisa masks. Can't remember if these have been in a favorites video or not, and I've actually only tried one. This is the Organic Flowers Hydrogel Mask, and the one that I did and really liked was the Organic Seeds Hydrogel Mask. I might actually do this one today. That's the other thing, I haven't been masking my skin very much at all. Maybe once every 2 weeks I've been doing kind of a proper exfoliation mask. I'm definitely due for it. So this one is supposed to brighten, lift, and moisturize. I just really enjoyed the experience of the other Wamisa mask I tried. It's different than just a sheet mask, which are gauze soaked in that sort of serum. A hydrogel mask is much more similar to the Honest Hazel eye gel under eye things that I love, having that kind of all over your face. I find that at least the serum that they use on these is very, very sticky on the skin. My skin was literally sticky for like the rest of the day and night that I had used this other one. I think they're very fun to try. The only other sheet masks I have a lot of experience with are the Orgade, and my favorite of the three that they do is the Greek Yogurt and Nourishing, which I continue to repurchase every time I make a Beauty Heroes order. I'll throw a couple of those in so I can have those kicking around. I like those if I want to do like a lazy mask evening. I don't have the wherewithal to like do a lot to my skin, but it needs something. Whacking a sheet mask on is kind of really nice. Okay, before we get into makeup, I have one quick hair thing. This is the Innersense Harmonic Healing Hair Oil. My hair has been very dry this summer. I don't know if you can really tell. I did just have it trimmed if you watched my recent vlog, and I am sort of appreciating the cut that I got a little bit more. I've been washing it every 3 to 4 days, whereas before my skin got dry and my hair got dry, I was washing my hair essentially every other day, maybe every like on the 3rd day. Now I can get by like on the 4th day I'll wash, and I've been really liking on probably the 3rd day of my hair. I'll run about 2 pumps of this through the ends, like I did that this morning, and it doesn't feel overly greasy, but it feels really moisturizing and nice. But I'll time it around when I'm gonna wash my hair. The other hair oil that is on my list to repurchase this fall is the Uma hair oil, but I like that more as a scalp treatment. And I also have been using the Innersense Hydrating Hair Mask. Although I find that I have actually better luck with the hair oil versus the mask. The mask I can sort of use as an in-shower conditioner. I've tried to use it as like a deep conditioning treatment, wetting my hair, putting a generous amount of that through, putting my hair up like 20 minutes before I plan to shower, if I remember. It's okay, but I find I've been getting better results with just doing the Innersense hair oil on the ends of my hair even a day or 2 before I'm gonna wash, and just kind of letting it build up in my hair. Now that's really kind of only if you are having dry hair like I am. Could also use this as a scalp treatment, but it is on the heavier end, which is why I like it primarily on my ends. This came in the Beauty Heroes limited edition InnerSense Travel Discovery, which if that's still available, I'll link it down below, but you get to try this and like 7 or 8 other InnerSense minis. It's great. Speaking of the Beauty Heroes discoveries, 2 of my favorite makeup products of the last, month or since I've been using them have ended up being 2 of these products from the Sappho box. I would say my first favorite is the CC cream. It's really freaking good. And it's one of those products that when I first was sort of playing around with it, I'm like kind of figuring out how to pair it with other SPFs and products in the complexion area of my makeup bag. And the more I used it, the more I was like, this actually has really good coverage. My skin seems to love it. It seems to kind of help improve the condition of my skin. And I've also been trying the foundations, and there is something specific to the CC cream formula that my skin likes and seems to benefit from even more than the foundations. And truthfully, the foundations, I've been applying them with fingers kind of the way you would a tinted moisturizer. And I feel like the coverage level isn't really that different. I consider those to be a very light to medium, maybe coverage type of foundation, depending on application method. The CC cream, you need a very small amount, and the coverage and evening out that it provides, I think is really good. I have it in the shade light, and even though it looks a little bit dark, it seems to work. My favorite way to use it is over top of the Suntegrity 5-in-1, which I have in the shade Fair. And I talked about all of this in the demo that I did of the Sappho box. I've continued to be using and liking this. This is probably my favorite sort of foundation combo of late. The other product that I have been really enjoying is the concealer, in spite of how light it is. Favorite way to use this has been first doing a corrector. I have had the world's most aggressive under eye circles related to stress, life transition, lots of things. It makes me realize how topicals, again, I say this all the time, like topicals are really just the icing on the cake. And I think that's why I'm kind of down on eye products now. Like eye products that promise to get rid of your dark circles and stuff, like that kind of thing is to a large extent sort of out of your control. Even if you are doing everything right, like eating the right things, getting enough sleep, not drinking alcohol, like all of this stuff, there can be other exacerbating factors and extenuating circumstances in your life where you're gonna have dark circles. So I've been going through one of those periods, and I really like the Tarte CC corrector. I have it in light medium, and I would totally repurchase this in spite of really not liking Tarte that much as a brand. But this product and Lights Camera Lashes Mascara, I feel like I'll continue to repurchase. And the only reason I don't like buying from them is that I feel like I just don't, like the packaging does absolutely nothing for me. I hate that they take bloggers on those dumb international trips. Similar to how like NARS is doing right now in Ibiza. I'm like, get over yourselves. Like it can't deal. A lot of people also like the one that Becca does, which has much more of a salmon peachy type of undertone, and it's almost like shiny and sticky under the eyes. At least it was on me. So on me, this is a really great corrector. And then I'll top it with a little bit of the Sappho concealer. You use a beauty blender to get that in, and I feel like that has been these 4 products. Oh, I have one more too, but like these 4, so complexion, conceal, and then I've been setting everything with the Antonym Baked Foundation in the shade Light, and I've been using, I didn't bring it up, but the Wayne Goss Airbrush brush to set everything in place. I've been going for this over the Hourglass powders, which I was using. And I think because my skin is slowly renormalizing and being a little bit less dry, I've sort of liked the additional coverage that I feel like this gives, and it's very, very good at mattifying, but not in a powdery looking way. I like this a lot. The only downside is that the packaging is clunky, so it's definitely not good to take on the go, but if you just need a powder to keep at home, I really, really like this one. The other complexion product I could tell you about, if you've been watching me for a while, then this will not be a new product to you, but this is like one of my favorite bronzing products to use, and I tend to only really use it in the summer. Bronzing powder from the brand Studio 78. Now, very few retailers still carry this brand, and in fact, I can't really figure out what's going on with the brand. I'm not sure if they're going under. Their products are, I think, discounted right now on Credo. I have this in the shade 02. It comes in an 01 and an 02. This is, I think, my second or third one of these. The only downside is that the cardboard packaging is not ideal. The product is very prone to crumbling at some point, but I'm wearing it today. I pair it with so many other complexion products I have. I apply it with a duo fiber brush. Love the effect that it gives. If I'm not doing a cream bronzer, I'm doing this in the summertime. I tend to never wear it in the winter. If someone knows what's going on with this brand, like if they're going under, being discontinued, these last forever too. I mean, this will probably last me for the next like 3 or 4 years because I really only use it seasonally and it doesn't go bad really. So I don't think I would be buying a backup, but if you want to get your hands on a discounted thing of this, then I'll link you to the Credo one below if it's still available. Okay, now a little bit of lip product talk. Thank you, thank you, thank you to everyone in my wishlist video, pretty much everyone. Kosas. I had talked about how I thought Violet Fury from Kosas was sort of on my wish list, but I didn't know because the Kosas lipstick that I have had since this brand launched, I have it in the shade Dark Room. That's how much I have left. So I have used like quite a bit of it. I talked about how I felt like the packaging was too bulky and I felt like the formula wasn't that matte on me. And a bunch of people were like, they've changed the packaging. It's a little bit more streamlined. It has a magnetic closure. I love the brand, blah, blah, blah. So I was in Credo and I went over to swatch Violet Fury. I ended up not liking Violet Fury. But I did end up purchasing the other color that I had always wanted, which is Electra. I was totally in the mood for just a bright, fun, cheer me up type of lipstick, and this could not have been more perfect. I am very happy to report that in fact, the packaging is different and better. It is smaller if you see them side by side. And they've added that magnetic closure, which is a really nice touch. I don't know if they've changed the formula or if there's just variation by color, but Electra wears so beautifully on me. It looks very matte. The pigmentation is beautiful. It's super long wearing and I really could not be happier with it. Okay, then the other two things I wanted to mention are two liquid lipsticks I recently bought on sale at J. Crew. I mentioned these in a previous video and I'm blanking on where. Oh, I tried these on in my vlog, actually. Two liquid lipsticks from the brand Spella, which Credo also carries. That's how I learned about them. A lot of people were sort of naysayers on this formula. I thought I was gonna get more wear out of Tinder, which is this shade. And this was actually the one that I had swatched at Credo and I was like super, super drawn to how neon it looked. Right there. I've actually been getting a lot more wear out of Jet Set, which is a sort of a dries down to sort of a dark rosewood type of shade almost. Right there. And I've been wearing this a bunch. I feel like it's actually a very nice sort of late summer transitional shade. And I will say about the formula, I kind of compare eco lipstick formulas to the Aromi liquid lipsticks, which is a brand no one really talks about anymore, but I have been using them for years. I don't think they're as clean as a lot of people would prefer, which is maybe why people don't use them. Compared to those, I would say the longevity of these is not as good, but I was prepared for this formula to be really bad based on how people were talking about it, and it's not, at least on me. The main issue is that it wears down, particularly on the lower lip. So if you're eating or drinking and you go to look at this, you're going to need to reapply. With the Aromi liquid lipsticks, I never have to even touch up or reapply if I'm eating or drinking. With these, they do wear off a little bit more, but the texture on the lips continues to look good. They don't crumble off. They don't look crusty or anything. The formula, I'm sort of willing to, and they reapply nicely. You can sort of layer them and rebuild the color up, but they are prone to wearing down sort of in the inner part, especially of the lower lip. So keep that in mind, but they're fun colors. I think I got these for like $8 or $9 a piece on sale at J. Crew, and I'm very happy I picked them up and I've been liking them. So that's it for product chat, but I do have a list of some other things I wanted to tell you about as far as lifestyles. I'm gonna link you to, I think, probably 3, maybe 4 articles. I've been cataloging in my head the things I want to mention on here, things that I've read that I think are interesting. I read a good piece in the New Yorker. I think it was it must have been sometime, I think in early July. And it's about someone that makes a living as a live streamer. I think that whole culture is really interesting, and in general, I'm just fascinated with what our online world has produced as far as people's careers and livelihoods, relational situations, human interaction. I mean, everything kind of comes out when you start digging into these issues. I got into it a little bit with my discussion of the Nia Wilson tragedy in the vlog that I did, and kind of the online social media feminist activist infighting that was happening around that. There's so much to unpack there, but I think this live streaming article is really interesting. In particular, I think I had posted about it on Instagram, but there was one quote. Oh, I wish I had the quote. It was basically like, your life is for sale. In not so many words, like you've put a price tag on your existence. And I don't know, it was just a thought-provoking piece. So I'm gonna link that. This was actually an option on Patreon this month that didn't win. I'm actually going to be doing a video on Patreon about the beauty brands that I don't buy from anymore and why. So for the many of you that ask me why I don't buy May Lindstrom products, I'm trying to think of other brands, Living Libations. I get questions about particular brands a lot, and if you're curious, I will be doing all of that on Patreon this month. But the option that got the second most votes this month was a discussion about the wellness industrial complex. There have been two good pieces I read recently that got my wheels turning about this. They're both in the New York Times. One is, I think the title is Worshipping the False Idols of Wellness. Very, very good read. And the other is a profile of none other than our favorite GP from Goop, because she's the endless topic of polarized wellness discussion. What reading both of those pieces brought up for me is, yes, how problematic the wellness industrial complex is, and how it has ironically, in my opinion, become such a toxic space. But more than that, what I wanted to get into is how there's this really interesting binary that comes up in the debate, which is science versus non-science, or sort of the charlatan-esque wellness fads that come up. I just think it's so much more nuanced than like science versus non-science. It's being set up as a binary, polarized discussion, and I wanted to unpack all of the gray area in there. As far as listening, I had to suffer through sort of tangentially watching Ballers when Kaveh would have it on like in the evenings and stuff. I hated the show. I don't recommend it under like any circumstances. It's on HBO with The Rock. It was just a total like superficial, misogynistic, ridiculous waste of time. But the music that they score for the show is actually decent. And I discovered the English artist Lapsley. Her full name is Holly Lapsley Fletcher, but she goes by Lapsley, and her music is gorgeous. Her voice is super, super stunning. I will link my favorite songs of hers below. Tell Me the Truth and Falling Short. Those are my two favorite songs. They are stunning. I've been listening to them on repeat. So good if you like soulful female vocals. And then I've been listening to a lot of classical music this summer. I queried people on Instagram for their favorites classical music recommendations, and I got some good recommendations that I need to go back and look into further. But I ended up just getting I think it's the 50 greatest pieces of classical music performed by the London Philharmonic, which I've really been liking. And then I've also been listening to Peter and the Wolf, and I'll link below the particular orchestra I have that produced it. I remember Peter and the Wolf from when I was a kid. I used to dance ballet, and I think we did a ballet to Peter and the Wolf, if I'm remembering correctly. Yeah, it just made me like really nostalgic. So I've been enjoying just having classical music on in the car, which is helping me stay calm amidst the horrendous traffic that exists in Chicago now and didn't when I lived here 10 years ago. So there's that. Okay, one other thing that's sort of like hybrid music, but also something to go watch. I'm gonna link it below. I'm gonna have everything linked below. I keep being redundant. I don't know how many of you know the choreographer Luam. It stands for Love Understands All Music, and she's a New York-based choreographer. Full video on YouTube of choreography to Sade's Is It a Crime? And it's one of those ones that I can just watch over and over, and I feel like it puts me in the most zen space. It is such beautiful choreography to one of my favorite vocalists like, of all time. Even just thinking about Sade, like, makes me feel choked up. Please go watch it. It's so inspiring and just a thing of beauty. Last thing I will end on, and I know I am the world's last person on earth to be into this. I discovered that this little show called The Great British Bake Off, that people have been talking about forever, right? I just assumed we didn't have access to it in the States. And then I went through this period of extreme confusion when I saw on PBS that you could watch a show called The Great British Baking Show. And I was like, oh, well, I really like love this show, but is this The Great British Bake Off? Or like, how can I watch that too? Until I realized, I just did a tiny bit of digging, and you find out very quickly that PBS in the United States, I think, licensed the rights to air The Great British Bake Off, but under this different name, The Great British Baking Show. 4 seasons are on Netflix, and they start with, it's listed as seasons 1 through 4, but it's, I think, like, starting with actually season 5 of the show with the 2014 season, which I've seen all of, and I'm now on the 2015 season. Kaveh will even watch it with me, and he, like, gets into it. It's so enjoyable on every level. So if you have Netflix, just look for The Great British Baking Show, and it is in fact this Great British Bake Off show of legend. And there's a current season on that I am recording through our DVR on PBS. So if you have PBS, you can also watch this. I would love to get access to the first like 5 seasons of the show that I don't know how Americans can watch those. It's so good. It's so good. Even if you're not a baker, these are all sort of home baker enthusiasts. It's nothing like American cooking shows, which I despise, like Food Network. I can't deal. It has a totally different energy. There's just this really beautiful, like, pastoral quality to it. I find British accent and syntax so charming on like every level. You just get an introduction to so many different kinds of European pastry, and it's just complete bliss. And I'm probably preaching to the choir because many of you, I'm sure, already watch it. Anyway, that is it for this favorites video. Thank you so much for watching and listening to me talk about all my favorite things of late. I clearly am going to be busy with all of the videos I was just talking about wanting to do. So much coming up. Thank you for being here as always. I'm trying to get back on a Sunday schedule. Please check below if you would like to enter to win this bottle of Stark Everlasting. And then as a way to say thank you to all of my patrons, I'm going to be giving the second bottle away to someone on Patreon, which is obviously a much smaller pool of people. And I will have all the information listed to all of the patrons on how to enter. I normally do stuff on Patreon as first come, first serve, but I'll do it a little different for this. 2 options to win: YouTube, Patreon, and I'll see you guys really soon. Bye.